Today we will be discussing Chomsky normal form, and we have already covered this topic. This was the first topic which we covered in the online mode, but I am restarting this topic and I have changed some slides. So kindly consider these slides in the revision time. So let's start with Chomsky normal form. Chomsky normal form is basically a form of context-free grammar in which we have a specified format to be used. That is, on the right side of every production, you can have either two non-terminals or a single terminal. Say, for example, I have S tends to capital A, capital B, or S tends to A. So S tends to A is single terminal. S tends to capital A, capital B is a combination of two non-terminals. So whenever we get any context-free grammar, and if we are asked to convert it into Chomsky normal form, this means that we have to convert that grammar into two non-terminals or a single terminal. Now, we have to take into consideration various points when we go in for this particular form of grammar. Before going into that, let's have a short quiz on Chomsky normal form. Say, for example, I have a grammar S tends to capital A, small b, or A. Is this in Chomsky or not? No, this is not in Chomsky normal form, because in this we have capital A, small b, whereas we should have two non-terminals. Then next, capital A, capital B, or AA. We have two non-terminals, so this is not in Chomsky normal form. If I say capital A, capital B, or A, or capital B only, not in Chomsky normal form, because we have capital B as single non-terminal. Capital A, capital B, or BB, or A, or B. This is in Chomsky normal form. Why? Because on right side we have capital A, capital B, two non-terminals, or capital B, two non-terminals, or A, single terminal, or B, single terminal. Now, what are the rules to convert a grammar into Chomsky normal form? Please remember, these three rules have to be followed before you can convert any grammar into CNF. First rule is remove all epsilon productions, if any, except in the start state. If there is a epsilon production in the start state, that cannot be removed, except that it should be removed compulsorily. Second rule says that you have to remove all the unit productions. If there are any unit productions, they have to be removed. In the coming slides, we will be discussing about what are unit productions. And third rule says that we have to remove all useless symbols, if any. Most important point, we have to ensure that start variable does not appear on right side of any production. Now, first rule says we have to remove epsilon productions. So what are epsilon productions? Say, for example, I have a grammar S tends to AB, A tends to small a, capital A, or A, B tends to small b, capital B, or epsilon. So what is the epsilon production? B tends to epsilon is an epsilon production. Now, how we can remove this epsilon production? As per the grammar given in the earlier slide, I have written that same grammar here. Say, for example, we say that first is production name is P1, second is P2, and third is P3. Now what we will do, we will replace all productions having capital B with null. Why? Because we had a production B tends to epsilon. Epsilon means null. If I consider the original grammar, in that we had first production, that is P1, as S tends to AB. If I replace B with null, I am left only with capital A. Most important point is, which I have jotted down over here also, original production S tends to AB will remain, and new production S tends to A will be added in P1. If I consider second production A tends to small a, capital A, or A, there is no capital B in this, so no change, it will remain as it is. If I talk about the third production P3, I have B tends to small b, capital B, or small b, or epsilon. Epsilon is removed. We were doing that particular operation only right now. And in place of capital B, we will be putting small b. So again, please remember, original production will remain. So the output which we get corresponding to this is capital B tends to small b capital B, or B, this is the original part, or small b, because we have replaced this small capital B with epsilon. So this is how we remove the epsilon production. Now, since we have this, after removing the epsilon production, S tends to capital A, capital B, or A tends to small a, capital A, or A, B tends to small b, capital B, or B, or B. If we have B tends to small b, B tends to small b twice, that this is almost same as if we replace this by a single production, B tends to small b. So the context-free grammar which we get after removing the epsilon production is S tends to capital A, capital B, or capital A tends to small a, capital A, or A, and B tends to small b, capital B, or B. The grammar which we have received after removing the epsilon production is this, and see, there is no epsilon production in this particular grammar. This was our major objective, that we wanted to remove the epsilon production. Now, next, we go to unit productions. Rule 1 was remove epsilon production. Rule 2 says remove unit productions. Now, first point is, what is a unit production? Just remember one good line, single non-terminal leading to a single non-terminal is a unit production. Why do we call it a unit? Unit means one. One non-terminal leading to one non-terminal. This is a unit production. Just consider the example of a grammar. S tends to capital A, small b, or capital A or B. A tends to small a, capital A or B. In this particular grammar, S tends to capital A, which has been highlighted with blue, is a unit production. S tends to A, single non-terminal leading to a single non-terminal. Just see this in another example. In this example, A tends to capital B, single non-terminal leading to a single non-terminal is a unit production. Now, if we are supposed to convert a grammar into Chomsky normal form, we say that we have to remove, first rule says we have to remove epsilon production. We have already covered. Next rule says we have to remove unit production. Now, point arises, how we will remove the unit production. In order to remove the unit production, say for example, we have a grammar, S tends to capital A, small b, or capital A or B. A tends to small a, capital A or B. What is the unit production? S tends to capital A. Now we have to remove this unit production. What we will do, instead of this capital A on right side, that is a unit production on right side, we will replace it with all the productions on the right side of capital A. Just see this. We will replace all the productions of unit production, that is A, with A tends to small a or B. So in place of capital A, I have put small a, capital A or B. Original productions, capital A, B or B will remain as it is, and we will include two new productions in S tends to production. Why? Because we have two productions on right side corresponding to capital A. So this is how we will remove this particular unit production. Now if I see the first part, since S tends to AB or B or AB or B, B is repeated, S tends to B, S tends to B is repeated. What I will do, I will just replace it with single B, S tends to AB or AB or B. So ultimately, my final output after removing the unit production from this particular grammar in which we had a unit production S tends to A, the output is S tends to AB or B or AA, A tends to small a, capital A or B. So we have removed the unit production from this particular grammar. This was the second rule which said that in order to convert it into Chomsky normal form, first rule said epsilon should be removed, second rule said unit should be removed. Now just see another example of rule 2. If I consider this particular grammar, in this A tends to capital B is a unit production. What I'll do, I'll just strike off this B, and instead of this B, I'll write small b, capital B, or B. No change in first production since there is no unit production. No change in third production since there is no unit production. Only change is in second production. And what we have done, we have replaced A tends to B has been replaced with A tends to small b, capital B, or B. Now the most important point is that if there is a production of the type A tends to A or B tends to B, it is immediately removed without any change in the grammar. Next, we move to third rule, which says that we have to remove useless symbols. So what are useless symbols? All the symbols are useless if they do not have these 2 points. First is they are generating, and second is that they are reachable. We will discuss both these points in detail in the coming slides. Now just see, what do you mean by generating symbols? Generating symbols means that any symbol which generate a terminal or string of terminals is a generating symbol. Just consider this particular grammar. S tends to capital A, capital B, or capital C, capital D. A tends to small a, capital B, or capital A, or A. B tends to small b, capital B, or B. C tends to small c, small d. D tends to capital C, capital D. Now in this case, if I just go through the first scan of this grammar, I'll say that there are 3 symbols which are generating terminals. A tends to small a, B tends to small b, C tends to small c, C tends to small d. So we have A, B, and C are generating terminals, and D is not generating. Why? Because D is not leading to any terminal or set of terminals. So we say that D is not leading to a terminal or group of terminals, so D is not generating. Next rule which we say is for generating is that in first round, we considered only those symbols which were generating terminals. We have put them in a set A dash, which consists of all the terminals which are generating. So we have A, B, and C as generating, and D is removed since it is not generating. Now in round 2, we will consider all the productions which are generated from A dash. Since S tends to AB, A is generating, B is generating, so we say that S is also generating. A, B, C were already included. So after round 1, we can say that only D is the symbol which is useless. So we remove the useless symbol D, and now we move to second part of useless symbols that says which are reachable. What do you mean by reachable? Reachable symbols mean that it can generate set of terminals from start state, in this case which is capital S. Say for example, I have a grammar S tends to capital A, small b, or small b, B tends to B, A tends to A. Now in this particular grammar, although B tends to small b is a generating symbol because it is generating a terminal, small b, but we say that this is useless. Why? Because it is not being generated from S. If I start deriving some string from S, B will never come in that because we have either capital A or small b corresponding to S tends to this particular production, S tends to A, B, or B. So here B is useless since it cannot be generated from S, although it is generating. Hence the final grammar after removing non-reachable symbols is S tends to capital A, B, or B, A tends to A. So again an example of reachable and generating. Now consider this particular grammar. Here we have removed D since it was not generating. Now since D is not generating, all the productions which have D on left side or right side will automatically be removed. So S tends to CD is removed since D is not generating, and C tends to CD is removed since D is not generating. So the final output corresponding to this particular grammar is S tends to AB, A tends to small a capital B, or capital A small a, or A, B tends to small b capital B, or B. So we can say in the end that corresponding to this particular grammar, useless symbols are capital C and capital D. Now, most important point when we are converting the grammar into Chomsky normal form is that we have to check first epsilon. If it is epsilon is there in the grammar, remove it. Why we should first check epsilon? Because epsilon production when removed can lead to a unit production. So we need to remove epsilon production first. Now just consider this particular grammar in order to prove what I said. Say for example, we have a grammar of this type in which we have B tends to epsilon. Just by going through this grammar, I can confidently say that there is no unit production. But once I remove epsilon, what I get is S tends to AB or A or A. Using the rule, B tends to epsilon, if there is B tends to epsilon move, replace all capital B with null. Now I have a unit production which was not seen in the previous grammar. So it is necessary that we have to follow the sequence. First, remove epsilon. Second, remove unit. Third, remove useless. Please follow this particular rule sequence before converting the grammar into Chomsky normal form. Now just take this example. The moment I see this grammar, I can say rule 1 will not be required since there is no epsilon production. Rule 2 will not be required since there is no unit production. Rule 3 will not be required since there is no useless symbol. Why no useless symbol? Because A is leading to a terminal, B is leading to a terminal, and S is leading to AB. So A and B both are reachable. A and B are generating, so S is generating, and A and B are reachable because they are starting from S. Hence, since all three things have been cross-verified, no epsilon, no unit, no useless, now I will convert it into Chomsky normal form. How I will convert into Chomsky normal form? What I will do, I will introduce two new productions. A1 tends to A, B1 tends to B. In this, S tends to AB, two non-terminals was in Chomsky normal form. A tends to small a in CNF, B tends to small b in CNF. So I need to convert these three productions into CNF. So what I have done, I have introduced A1 tends to A and replaced this small a with A1 in this particular production, and I have introduced a new production B1 tends to B, which I have replaced here with B1. So now the grammar which I get is completely in CNF. Why? Because at right side of every production, I have two non-terminals or a single terminal. So this is how we convert a grammar from CFG to CNF. Now, most important and the fourth final point which was written in the rules was that ensure that start symbol does not appear on right side of any production. If start symbol S appears on the right side, then what is the rule which we will follow? We will augment the grammar by adding a new symbol S dash. Say for example, I have a grammar S tends to A, capital S A, B, capital S B, or A or B. Now since capital S appears on the right side of the productions, I need to remove it. In order to remove it, I have introduced a new production S dash tends to S. Now what is my start symbol? S dash. But I have a unit production and rule says that there should be no epsilon, no unit, and no useless before converted into Chomsky. So what I'll do, I'll replace this capital S with all the productions of S in order to remove unit production. So this is the output I get after removing the unit production from S dash. Now I start converting into CNF. I have introduced two new symbols, A1 tends to A, B1 tends to B, and put it on all places. If I see this set, right now I can realize that there are three non-terminals in these four productions, two of S dash and two of S. CNF rule says that we should have two non-terminals instead of single terminal. So I will replace, one step is missing in this case, I will replace A1S with A and B1S with B2, and I'll replace it and I will get the final output. I will show you this particular example in the coming slides. Now I start with the next set in which I have questions and answers corresponding to this CNF. First is, you can get questions only on individual rules. Say for example, you can always have a question, remove unit production from the following grammar. Just see this grammar. In this particular grammar, I have one unit production, S tends to S. I have already discussed that if there is a production of this type, it is automatically removed without any change in the grammar. Another unit production which I have, that is B tends to A. So first, in the first case, I'll remove the unit production from S. No change in the grammar except for this particular production on the right side has been removed. After this, I will remove unit production from B. How I will replace it? I will replace all the contents on right side of A with this unit production A. So ultimately my final output will be, I will have all three productions of A in place of single capital A. This is one format in which you can get the question. Next is, remove the unit production from the grammar given below. There are three unit productions, S tends to A tends to B, B tends to C. This is a very interesting question. That is why I have added this. See, first we are removing, if I try to remove unit production from B, it has two unit productions. First I'll do is, instead of capital C, I'll put A. Now I have one unit production still left in B. What I'll do, I'll put in place of capital A, capital B. Now this is a self unit, B tends to B, so I'll remove it. Now I will remove unit production from A. Since B tends to A tends to A. Now I will remove unit production from S. Since capital A tends to small a, I'll replace S with small a. So the final output is that in all four, I have small a. Next is, you can get question only on the point, remove epsilon production. We have already covered unit. Now we will be covering epsilon productions. Grammar is given. We have to remove epsilon production. As we see this grammar, it is clear that there is only one epsilon production, A tends to small a. When I remove this, the output which I'll get is, I had one capital A in S tends to A, SB. I have put A tends to epsilon. The output which I generate is SB. Again, please remember, original output, capital A, capital S, capital B will remain. I get the output AS as it is, small a as it is. I have replaced this capital A with epsilon, so I get AS. Now I replace this capital A with epsilon. So what happens? Epsilon has been introduced in B, which was not there earlier. Since my question is to remove epsilon production, I will definitely remove epsilon from this also. Now when I will replace epsilon from this, the output which I'll get will be, instead of ASB at this point, I will get only AS. Then I will have no more change since I didn't have capital B anywhere else. Most important point at this particular slide is, since we had epsilon in A, we had epsilon in B, we will remove epsilon from AB joint also. So it is remove epsilon production from both A and B. So this is the final output which we get after removing the epsilon production. Please remember, this is the most important point of this particular example. Now I move to question 4. Here again the question is remove epsilon production, and you can see that 3 productions are having epsilon A, B and C. First I am removing epsilon from A. I get BC at this point along with small a. Epsilon is removed. Then I remove epsilon from B. I get small b here and AC here. Now I remove epsilon from C. I get AB on the top. Now I will remove epsilon from A and B combined. So I will get only C. Now I will remove epsilon from A and C combined. I will get B. Then I'll remove epsilon from B and C combined. I'll get A. Then I will remove epsilon from all 3, A, B, C. So I will get epsilon in S also. So please remember, I have considered explicitly this question in order to give you a complete idea about how epsilon actually moves around when we are converting a production, CFG into CNF. So this is the grammar after removing epsilon, which we will convert into Chomsky normal form. I move to question 5. I have a grammar. I can have individual question on this. Find useless symbol if any. Why if any? There is a probability that there may not be any useless symbol. There is an equal probability that there is a useless symbol. So I will follow the rule of useless symbol, which says that we will find out generating symbols in 2 rounds and then we will find out derivables. Since A is generating XYZ, a string of terminals, it will be included. X is not deriving any terminals, only Y is not deriving only terminals. Yes, Z is deriving only terminals. So I will include capital A and capital Z. In this case, my start symbol is capital A. So what I have done, I have considered that X and Y are useless since they are not generating, neither they are derivable. Now, what I will do, I will consider these 2 productions only. X tends to XYZ, Z tends to Z. Now I will check whether Z is derivable from A or not. Definitely Z is not derivable. So it is also useless. So ultimately in this particular grammar, the only output which I generate is A tends to small x, small y, small z, and these are the useless symbols. Next is, you remove the useless symbol if any. This is the same grammar which we considered in question number 3. The only point which I want to discuss at this is that we had derived something like this. In this case, A, B, C are not derivable from S. So the final output will be S tends to A. Next is proper conversion from CFG to CNF. This is an example in which we can clearly see there is no epsilon, no unit, no useless. So we have directly converted it into Chomsky normal form by introducing two new productions. A1 tends to A, B1 tends to B. The final output which we have is in the form of CNF because it has 2 non-terminals and a single terminal on right side of every production. Now come to this. In this case, we will first check whether there is any epsilon production. Yes, A tends to A. We will remove that epsilon production. We get capital B over here, small a over here. That's all. We will remove this duplicate A. This is there. Now we see if there is any unit production after removing the epsilon production. Yes, there is. S tends to B is a unit. How we will remove it? We will just take away this capital B and place all the productions derived from capital B on the right side and put it here. Now we will convert it into Chomsky normal form. We didn't have any useless symbol. We had epsilon, removed. We had unit, removed. This is the final output which we get. Again, two new symbols have been introduced, A1 and V1. And the output which we have generated is in CNF. Come to question number 9. Two non-terminal, two epsilon moves. Sorry?
मैम पिछले क्वेश्चन में एप्सिलॉन की जगह ए क्यों डाला आपने?
If I move in this particular production, if I remove epsilon, what will A tends to epsilon? What is left out? Only small a.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
And in this case, if I remove only capital B, that is why I have added this. Fine. Now come to this question number 9. I have 2 epsilon. First I remove from A. So in this point, in this case, I get small a. And in this case also I get small a. Then I remove it from B. In this case, I have small b. And in this case also I have small b. Epsilon removed, no unit, no useless. So I converted into Chomsky normal form. So this is the final output which I get just by introducing 2 new productions. Then in question 10, I have 2 epsilon productions. In A as well as in B, I remove from A, I get duplicate, I remove it, I remove from B, I get duplicate, I remove it. Now I have this output. Please remember, since I had epsilon in A as well as in B, I will remove epsilon from both A and B, and then I will remove unit production if any. Remove unit production from A, so I'll replace this content with this. Remove unit production from B, I'll replace this capital B with small b capital B or B. Now I will convert it into Chomsky normal form. Next is another question. Now please have a thorough look at this question. This is again an important question. I have initial grammar this. First of all, I have S at the right side of the grammar, that is the start symbol. So I'll introduce S dash tends to S, which is a unit. So I'll have 2 productions, similar productions. How I will remove epsilon? What I will do is, I will consider this production A capital S AS. First I will remove epsilon from this A. That means I'll left with AAS. Then I'll remove epsilon from this production. This S tends to epsilon. So I have ASA. Then I'll remove epsilon from both capital S. So I'm left with small a, small a. Same is the case here. First I'll remove epsilon from this capital S. I get BSB. Then I remove the epsilon from last capital S. I get BBS. And then I remove epsilon from both, so I get BB. So this is how I remove epsilon from 1, from 2, and from both S in every production. Once I get this, now I'll just convert it into Chomsky normal form. Now when I try to convert this, just see, I get 4 productions, 4 non-terminals corresponding to a single production. So what I'll do, I'll just convert this into Chomsky by taking a pair. A2 tends to A1S. This is again A1S. So this is A2, A2. So what I get is 2 non-terminals on right side corresponding to every production. This is how we convert 4 or 3 or 2 non-terminals into CNF. Next question. Oh, sorry. Question number 12. In this case, there is a start symbol at right side. So first we will replace that. When we replace this, we have a unit production. We will remove that. And then we see there is no epsilon. So we convert it into Chomsky. Just see here we have 3 non-terminals on right side in 3 productions or 4 productions. What we will do, we will introduce new symbols corresponding to them. And this is A3 is AS. This is how we have converted these 3 into pair of 2. And all the symbols on the right side have 2 non-terminals or a single terminal. Next is this question in which we initially remove epsilon. We remove epsilon from B, we get epsilon in A. We remove epsilon from A, we move further and we get unit. Now we remove unit from S. We have a unit in A, we remove unit from A. Then we have symbol on right side, start symbol, we remove that. We have unit production, we remove that, and then we convert it into Chomsky normal form. Then we have 2 more questions. Pattern remains the same. First remove epsilon. If there is unit, remove unit. If there is useless, remove useless, and then convert it into Chomsky normal form. I would request you, please go through all these slides thoroughly. Now just see this question. This is an interesting question. Remove epsilon from Q. Okay. Remove epsilon from R. Okay. Remove unit from S. When I try to remove unit from S, I see there is a production S tends to C. Now since I cannot get any production corresponding to C, what I will do, I will first try to find out how I can remove this useless symbol. Now I consider all the points of useless symbol, that is derivable and generating. After considering that, I analyze that C and R both are useless. So I will take the grammar without C and R and then I will convert it into C and